And what is this expression, Tihi menuchato Eden, may he rest in peace? Eden is the upper light that fulfills our corrected desires in order to bestow to each other. The light of Chokhmah that fulfills all of these corrected desires is called Eden, Eden, meaning it's a state where the desire has corrected itself and it can rest now. What does it mean to find the right to rest? What is the right rest? The correct rest from the ego. To rest from the ego. Yes. On the one hand, it says that the righteous have no rest neither in this world nor in the next. So you have to interpret everything correctly. These are all passages from the spiritual life. So a person who wants to bestow, he has no rest, but on the other hand, this entire action for him is one big rest. He likes it, he loves it. A person who loves to bestow, then bestowal for him is pleasure. So when we say Tihi menuchato Eden, may he rest in peace, what do we mean?
For him to be able to discover in his entire soul the light that fulfills the soul called Eden, the light of Neranchai, the Yechida.
When someone passes away, if God forbid someone's mother or father pass away, then a person tears his garment. Why? It's a sign of sadness. What's the thing about the mother or father, or God forbid, the children, grandchildren? This is something that we truly suffer from. When the parents pass away, then even though that you suffer, but not that much because they already lived their life and were the offsprings. So it's a sign of loss. The garment, it symbolizes the clothing that clothes our soul, something that's very close to us, because the body, as if, symbolizes the soul in our world. And therefore, we tear the clothing, the garment. And we also put on mourning clothes and so on. You explained that the physical body of a person, when he passes away, it's like his clothing, like the clothing over the soul that passes away. The corporeal body, a clothing for the soul. Probably not. Okay, then explain, please. It's nothing. It's like a piece of flesh. It's like a dog. So what is the clothing of the soul? That's the Or Chozel, the reflected light. I'm walking between raindrops here. So what does the tearing of the garment symbolize? It symbolizes that now I feel, how to put this, that by this death I have discovered the incompleteness of my external clothing, the clothing of the soul. It's a symbol, meaning the moment of death causes those people that are alive to perform a self-scrutiny. Of course, asking themselves, why am I here? Yeah, it's true. It's something that happens not only during the burial itself, but the moment you enter a cemetery, there's something that suddenly causes you to ask the big questions of life. So it says that if a person thinks about life, it's good for him to go to a cemetery, sit on a grave, and think about life. But even before that, before you pass away, if you can go this way, then there's the confession that you say and so on. There are many materials to read and think about. It's also a result of the spiritual states that we go through. I wanted to ask something else. It's customary to light a candle. What is it about the candle? A candle symbolizes the vessel, like a jug. In it, there's oil and a wick and a burning fire. That's called a candle. It's not that we're talking about a wax candle or something, but there's an entire structure here. Yeah, very special expression. That is the will to receive. The oil is the light of Chokhmah that's connected to the wick, and the wick is the resistance. And because there is the wick between the oil and the light that rises through the wick, there are many actions here. And there's an entire explanation about it in the wisdom of Kabbalah, about the will to receive and the masach and the reflected light, and how it reaches a state where the candle symbolizes the soul, as it says, Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam, that by this we light ourselves in the light of the Creator, meaning that we perform such corrections over the will to receive, which is the jug and the oil, and the wick, which is the screen, the masach, meaning we reach such a state where we do ignite ourselves and we become like an increasing spring. So suppose now I'm going to light a candle in memory of my father. So what do I have to think about according to the explanation that you have given? The explanation won't help. The main thing is to learn, and that the studying will change you. So the action itself doesn't do anything. The action does, but the action is that you prepare yourself to advance towards it. It's an act of bestowal. For this, a person has to study in a group. The people of Israel were born as a result of a collection of people uniting into a group. And then, in our mutual relations, we can correct ourselves. Meaning, the action of lighting a candle. When I light a candle, does it somehow influence the deceased, or it should direct me at something? We're all interconnected. We can't say that you're doing it on your own, he's doing it, or she's doing it. No one's doing anything on their own. We're all parts of one soul, and we're connected by an infinite amount of details. Therefore, what is your question? When I light a candle for the elevation of the soul of the deceased, by this, do I cause something to that person or to myself? I don't know what you mean by lighting a candle for the elevation of someone's soul. You mean that by your power of bestowal, you wish to connect that person's uncorrected vessels and to correct them with your work in order to bestow. Just a second. The corporeal action of lighting a candle, it symbolizes, when we light a ner Neshamá, a candle for the elevation of the soul of someone, it's meant to direct me at some inner action that I have to perform inside myself in my attitude towards others, towards the deceased. In my attitude towards the deceased, okay. In short, there are two levels here. There's the level of taking a candle and lighting it, and putting it next to the tomb or at home, doesn't matter where. That's the corporeal action. It directs me towards an inner action which I have to perform. Right. So what is the inner action that I have to perform called the lighting of the ner Neshamá, a candle for the elevation of the soul of the dead? No problem, because you're adding your corrected desire, which is in a special kind of illumination in order to bestow. and then the upper light glows within your desire with a masach, a screen, and the ol chozer, the reflected light. It's like a burning candle, and you add it to the desire of the deceased in order to revive it. To revive it. To revive it. To add the corrected desire to the desire of the deceased that needs the resurrection, and by that, I elevate it. What do you mean by resurrection? It's a part of the resurrection of the dead, where we provide the dead desires, dead in terms of the will to receive, for them to have the power to bestow. We revive each other because if all of us are interconnected in a single system, then everyone can correct themselves towards the others. And by correcting yourself towards the others, you correct the others. Okay, so while I'm still alive, if I performed a small action with my desire and I brought it to life, I inverted it to love another as thyself, to bestow, it can revive a dead desire of someone else? Of course. How? Because we're in a single system. You can't revive yourself unless you revive someone. So actually, I live as a result of reviving someone else? Of course, that's called an integral system. So the resurrection of the dead is what? It's amazing how the egoistic perception blinds a person. These things are completely interrelated. So what is the resurrection of the dead? The resurrection of the dead, it means that there is a special action that's dependent on everyone else. There is a part in everyone that even though that you correct everyone else, it remains in you and you can't correct it. And then comes a collective action that everyone has to do together, that everyone corrected everyone else as much as they could. And then, together, they connect for this special action. And that's called the resurrection of the dead. Meaning that the last part that you can't correct by connecting to others is also corrected. So if in our simplistic perception we thought that the resurrection of the dead is a special time where the dead come back to life, God forbid, how many billions we'll have to bury then? What for? What for? What is there in this world that they should come back to life for? What did we bury them for? What did we put the quicklime in their graves for everything to disintegrate? So the real resurrection of the dead that the wisdom of Kabbalah speaks about is the general desire of everyone that reaches a state of enlivenment. That's the resurrection of the dead, the resurrection of the desires, of the bones. Bones, it's because there's mocha, Neshamá, gidin, basar, and or.